Hello, this is Annette with Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel and the April 2024 monthly wrap-up. In this video, I will share with you the workings within my journal, anything that I purchased within the month of April, and my favorite tarot and oracle pairings and how I worked with my decks and what I was working with in general. So let's just get right into it. As far as purchases were concerned, I did not purchase one single deck, not an oracle, not a tarot, nothing, which I have to say is the first time that I've done that in years, I'm telling you. So this was good. It was really good for me, but I have to say that the reason that this is kind of easy for me as well is because a subscriber sent me this wonderful box of decks that I can pull from each and every month, and that's what I'm doing. Instead of just flooding these decks into my collection and then being overwhelmed, I'm just pulling them out 1 month at a time, maybe a tarot and an oracle, or maybe just a tarot. This month it was just a tarot, and it was the Divina Tarot deck, and this is by what is it, Spirit Speak? It's a Spirit Speak deck. So we'll look more at this in just a little bit because I have a favorite pairing for that deck and I really enjoyed working with those two together. So now as far as book purchases, I purchased 2 books, 1 book on a pre-order, and then I got this at Barnes & Noble. This is one of those modern witchcraft books. I have a couple of them and I find them really, really handy. They're simple, they're easy to read, the font is nice. So I don't need to put my glasses on, which is great. So this one is written by Julia Helena Hadas. She is also the author of Modern Witchcraft Book of Astrology. I don't have that one, but I might want to look into it because I love these little books. Anytime that I can get a book that contains a lot of information about a certain subject, and it's all kind of condensed and all put into this nice little package, I love it. And these books have the greatest paper. They're really good. It's like old paper. I don't know how to describe that. I don't know if I'm even talking about this right, but I like the paper as well within the books. So this book is broken into 2 sections. Part 1, which is understanding the magic of the moon and witchcraft, and then part 2, which are spells and rituals for every moon. So let's take a look at the chapters. So within part 1, we have witchcraft and the moon. Chapter 2, the magic of the moon phases. Chapter 3, seasonal moon spellcasting. Chapter 4, moon sign magic. Then we get into part 2, which is lunar correspondence, lunar spellcasting, foundational moon phase magic. And then we have special occasion and moon meditations, which I really enjoy. The seasonal moon spells, seasonal sign spells, and then we get into moon deity spells. So as far as all the spells are concerned, I have a lot of moon books. They talk about correspondence, they talk about how to work with them, they talk about tarot spreads, but this one has a lot of the little ways to work with the moon, the little spells, the little, just a little different. I just thought it was a really nicely put together little book. Now, if you are, I don't find that any book is beyond my knowledge. So if you are very advanced, maybe this book might not work for you. I love the way that it's put together, and I always find useful information in a book. Always. Even if it's 1 or 2 things, it's something that I didn't have the knowledge of before, so I never will turn the other way from a book. I will always look at it and see if it has anything to offer me, anything that is worth me spending my money on. And this one I like because everything is here. So it just makes it really handy. There's just like your basic information about the moon phases, super moons, micro moons, seasonal spell crafting. It talks about the seasons, the solstice, the equinox. It gets into magic. It talks about correspondence, minerals, crystals, stones. It also talks about useful ingredients to work with the moon, associations. It's really a cool little book. Colors, moon magic. There's all kinds of nice little rituals, meditations, and just some fun little spells as well. And it gets into it by the specific moon phase. So I don't know, I just really liked the way that it was set up. I dig these little books. I think they're fun. I think that they bring something in that is easy for me to just grab a hold of, take a look at it, and then sometimes it's just that idea, that little, snap of idea, that thought, so that I can go ahead and create my little ritual for the month. All right, I bought one other book, and that is the guidebook for the Pisces Oracle. Now you can go online and look at the poem library, and I do that, and I love it so much that I have been like screenshotting the poem so that I can place it within my journal. But they came up with a pre-order for the book. It was a little pricey. I don't know the quality of the book. I really didn't see anything about it. I didn't see any videos about it, what it looks like. However, I will say that I love this deck so much that I really wanted to have these little poems handy for me. If there's one other book that I wish that there were the poems just written within a guidebook that you could actually take a look at, it would be The Wee Star of the Forest of Precious Twigs. That's another one that I would love to have like a little guidebook form, because the poems are on the back of the card. And this you have to go online, which is perfect when you're traveling. But I like having a book because I can even take that book and just read it just offhand and see if there's something that just calls to me. So that was the other book that I ordered, and I think it was like $33. I don't know if it's still on pre-order or not, but that's where we are. Okay, so for the month of April, let's go ahead and just start looking through my journal. So the month of April, like I stated, was extremely, extremely emotional for me. And you'll see why in just a moment. So this is my whole little Mayan cosmology page, and then my Mayan goddess or deity that I'm working with for the month. Let me cue you into this stuff right here. This art and some of these. This is from a Substack that I came across just within the past couple of months. It's from a person named Diana Baez, and you can find her at Walking in the White Road on Substack. And I have really enjoyed the way that she puts together the Mayan cosmology of the day, the energy of the day. So I am a tried and true love of the way that Mark Elmy puts together his videos and his website, which is where I always get this information from. This is like just a quick overview of the energy of the day. And then this is the calendar so that you know what day corresponds with what number of the day and then what sign of the day as well. But what she's done is she has gone through like all of the books out there that touch upon Mayan cosmology, and she puts it together in a really great 2 to 3 minute read, I'd say, and highlights from books, quotes from these books, and then comes up with this art. I don't know where she gets this art. I don't know if she makes the art herself. I've been wanting to ask her a question on Substack because it's amazing. It's wonderful. I really like it. It really captures the energy of the day and highlights, like here we have the obsidian blade, and it just, I love the way that she's doing that. So I've really enjoyed working with this every morning, just opening it up on Substack, copying what I want to copy and then putting it in my book. Sometimes I take things, I rearrange some of the phrases or the quotes that she has in there so that I can make my own little section to put in my book. I would rather print things and put them in my book than really write in a lot of detail in my book. I don't like my writing. It bothers me. My hand starts to hurt. So sometimes I'll type things out and then just print them and put them in here because it's my journal and it feels better to me. So here we go again with some of that Mayan cosmology. And as you can see, I take things and I shift them too to just make them fit what feels right to me. Now on this day, the reason that this is in here, this is from the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. I was driving, there was a couple of times this month that something very similar to this happened. I was driving to school one morning. Well, I was driving my daughter to school and we were just about in the drop-off line and out flies a bee from my air conditioning vent and she is terrified of bees. She immediately undid the seatbelt and was like screaming, yelling, just about ready to crawl into the back seat from the front. And I was like, oh my goodness, calm down. It's a bee, you're all right. And I just kind of rolled the window down and asked the bee to gently go ahead and find his way out. And I'm sorry that he was displaced away from his community. And he left. And it was good. But I felt like this was after doing all of my journaling for the morning. And I came back and I was like, I need to write about this. I need to see where my little bee friend wants me to focus my energy and look at how I can use that. This is, like I said, this happened to me a couple of times this month. So that was pretty amazing. Okay. And this was a journal entry all about a decision that was being made for my oldest daughter's college preference or choice rather. But it was tough this year. If you were a parent this year of a senior in high school and they had to deal with FAFSA, which is the financial aid, the federal aid that's being offered. They revamped their system and it has been, or it was, a nightmare. They kept pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back, and a lot of people were forced to make decisions based on information about financial aid and how much help they were going to get for their college education without the information in order to determine whether or not they were going to go to that school. So at this point, you see this, right? ASU, Barrett, the Honors College. I was so excited. My daughter, she is really dedicated. She applied to 7 colleges. She got accepted to 7 colleges, and one of them being the Honors College here in Arizona. It's very highly rated, and I was very excited about this whole situation. But making the overall choice to come here for her was almost a little bit forced. We are looking at time. We are looking at certain financial obligations that we had. And so through a discussion, we, or she and we, came up with, well, maybe it's best for you to stay here and go to ASU, go to Barrett. It's a great opportunity. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I really wanted her to stay in Arizona. I really, really wanted that. But the way that this conversation came down because of certain financial commitments that needed to be made, I felt really yucky about this whole thing. I felt like I had stepped into a bucket of slime and it was weighing so heavily on me for about a solid week. I was emotional. Yes, it was what I wanted, but I knew it wasn't what she wanted. And it made me feel horrible about the situation. I am not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I felt awful about it. I was emotional, and you know, sometimes you're getting what you want, but it's just doesn't feel right. Well, I was getting what I wanted, but it wasn't what my daughter wanted, and I knew it. I knew it. But she agreed to do it just because of the information that we had on hand. So we went ahead and reserved her spot at ASU at the Honors College. And the reason that I'm sharing all this with you is because this is not what it turned out to be. Forecasting for the future, it's not what it forecasted to be. But I really had to take some time and journal through that because it was really heavy for me. So now this was just the following day after that. And then again, Moth. I sit with my desk that's right in front of a window, and it was at night, and I was here and everything was really dim. I was just kind of working on my computer, so there wasn't really light shining in, but there was this moth that kept coming against the window. And this is the first time within 6 years of us being here that this moth was so persistent, just kept tapping against the window, coming back into it over and over again. And I was just like, dude, stop. Stop, you're hurting yourself. And so this was that night on the 3rd of April. Remember, I'm feeling yucky. I'm feeling like I stepped in slime. And then Moth comes in, and clearly it's a message for me. So after a few minutes, Moth goes away. I turn on the lights, I pull out the deck, and then I proceed to meditate and then write a few words about Moth because, oh guys, you know, it was just really, really rough. It was a really hard week. This whole week was just tough. See this right here? This is Pisces. This is the Breathe card. And I hadn't even chosen the Breathe card, but I found the poem. I went through the poems and I was looking at this, and this is what I needed to do. Breathe in and out, then again, from the outside in and from the inside out, and then again. Receive fully and release wholly, and then do it again. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to keep going, but that's how I felt. Like I just needed to breathe. I got what I wanted as a parent, but it wasn't what my daughter wanted. It wasn't what she wanted. And I was just still feeling awful about it. Really, really awful about it. Okay, this right here, this is from a book that I borrowed from the library. This has got to go back. It's called Living Resistance, an Indigenous Vision for Seeking Wholeness Every Day. I'm going to buy this book because I didn't get to finish the book, and I like it. I like what I peeked into. I didn't have the time to really get into it, but it has these really great little poems or readings within the book, and I really enjoy it. I want to get into that a little bit more, so I put that in here. And then again, I'm just digging these things from Walking the White Road. Amazing, beautiful, beautiful artwork. I love it. I just feel so connected with it when I look at that every day, and I wish you would almost make like an oracle deck from it because it's just beautiful, beautiful work. And this was my Soul Care Sunday, and man, did I need it. Okay, so now we're stepping into the total solar eclipse. We were not within the path of totality. However, we did go out and enjoy it for a few minutes. And you know what? My intention really was not to go outside during the solar eclipse, just because of my own beliefs and things of that nature. But my whole family ended up being home that day, so we all went outside for a few minutes. And my favorite thing, it was also the new moon in Aries, by the way, but my favorite thing was looking at the shadows that were on the sidewalk from underneath a tree. It was beautiful. All these tiny little eclipses were on the sidewalk. People were using colanders, and there was all kinds of neat little pictures posted online. I don't know, it was just great. Okay, so new moon in Aries. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you will also know that I have been a real fan of the Forester's Daughter, or the Forager's Daughter, whoops, thinking about cars, the Forager's Daughter and her Patreon. Well, she had taken a break the month before, and then she came back, and then she decided, no more. I'm not going to do this anymore. I have other places that I need to place my time and my energy, and I completely honor her for that, because that's great that she recognized she needed to shift her energy. So I went ahead and printed this off. This was from, I don't know if this was the last one or one that was from a few years before. I can't remember. Anyhow, so I'm back to searching for my own information as far as working with the moon. So now I kind of scour the internet, and I'm kind of liking it. It's kind of cool. And this was, I think this was, I don't even know. No, this was from last year. So I pulled her tarot spread from last year, and I was working with the Circle of Doors and Oracle of Initiation. I really like this combination. I think I shared this combination with you last month. And then this is just a few more days into it. Again, I'm still digging this thing. I really like that Substack. It's so good. But yeah, it was a tough month, really tough month. Earth Day was good. And by this time, we're getting into some other information within our family life as far as the federal aid is concerned. And so a smoke limpia was delightful for the full moon in Scorpio, to just rid myself of all kinds of garbage that we needed, or yeah, we all needed to work through as a family. It was just, we needed to take things one day at a time, and we truly were. So by the end of this month, right about here, right about the 26th, we got our information, and then we had to revisit the decision that had been made. And so she did. She made a choice, and it was where she always, or where she had really, this is where she really wanted to go. So this whole thing right here, this was a whole theme that I used for my class and for myself as well. And it is one of the yamas from yoga. So there's this whole list of inner workings and outer workings for yourself, and how you work with the community and everybody outside of yourself. So this is all about the inner use of your energy. This is called Brahmacharya, and it is about the right use of your energy. So before, it used to be talked about in a way of sexual attachments, but this is about all attachments. This is about refraining from wasting your energy and holding on to your life force, your prana, so that you can move that energy in the right direction. So I really got into this. I wrote about it. I meditated. I used it for every class for about a week. And I'm going to tell you, as we are already into the month of May, that I am still working with this concept as far as expelling your energy and working with your energy and trying to harness your energy so you're not being wasteful and you're not using it on people and situations that are not deserving of it, or maybe you're just placing too much emphasis on things that shouldn't be happening. So that was my month in my journal, guys. So it may look like there's a little less tarot and oracle in there, and that's because because I was going through a lot of things. So, you know, guys, we just got to work with this stuff. We just got to work with it. Every day is a new day, and That's kind of just the way it goes. All right, so let's get into the decks. So this is the cute little Devana tarot deck. Isn't she adorable? Oh my goodness. So these are the backs, and the cards are like this line art. Is that what you call it? Line art? And I enjoy this kind of stuff. And then I paired it up with the Dirt Gems. I know that the Dirt Gems is now mass market, and I'm so happy for them. I got it, the Dirt Gems, the first edition, when the cardstock was really, really floppy. And then when the second edition came out, I went ahead and gave my first edition to my friend Tara over at Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. So she has that, or maybe she doesn't, I don't know. But I really enjoyed the play of color with these two decks. So you have this black and white deck here, and then you have this that mostly has these black backgrounds in it, but these beautiful pops of color. This deck is so meaningful. I love this deck. I love working with it. I love the spiritual and guidance within the guidebook that you get from working with the energetics of this plant energy. And then this deck here has that same energetic focus where, I mean, it's very descriptive within the art for both of them. Both of them are, I just think they look so lovely together. I really love this pairing. They worked so well together. I also worked with this alongside the Wild Unknown, but that is the Dirt Gems rather. But I really like this combination. I just felt like the overall art and the expressiveness within the art was just very cohesive. I just felt like it was so easy to work with and so easy to read. I worked with this quite a bit. I didn't journal about it a whole lot, but I worked with the energetics of this combination a lot this month, because I just needed time away from the book. I just needed time to think. So sometimes I was pulling decks and just, you know, getting a quick reading and then pushing it off to the side and moving on to the next one. Seriously, that's kind of the way it went for me this month. Okay, so Herb Crafter's Tarot was in my basket decks, and this deck, I absolutely adore this deck. I love this. This is, like I always say, this is my tias, this is my abuela, this is my mom, this is everybody in my line. I love this deck. I love the medicine. I love the healing. It's such a beautiful deck. Now, for a while now, I have seen Jess over at Empress and Basil work with these two together. This is the Mystical Shaman Oracle. And I had never put these two together until just recently. I had seen her using them together a while back, and I was like, that's an interesting combination. I'll try it. And you know what? I really like the combination because, again, for the energetic value. Now, the art is very different. I'm going to share another deck with you that I really liked working with, and as far as the art is concerned, I think they worked out so well. But the whole energetics of it all, this is medicine to me. The Herb Crafter's Tarot is medicine to me. And now this is also another means of medicine to me, because this deck is by, yes, it's by Colette Baron Reed, but also, and more importantly to me, is Alberto Velodo and Marciela Lobos. They are shamans. They work in Peru, and they brought the 9 rites of the Munay-Ki to the States. They also brought the Rite of the Womb to the States, and that is one of the ceremonies that I absolutely love doing. It is a rite that you pass on to people, and it is for healing of the womb, all kinds of healing. So to me, this was just like medicine within herbs and medicine energetically that you're calling in through these beautiful rites. So I really loved working with this combination together. So Jess over at Empress and Basil, I loved it. thank you so much. That was really, really cool. I liked working with these two. She used to have a YouTube channel. I don't know if she's going to come back with that or not. I always enjoyed her channel. She is on Instagram. So look for her there because she's always posting some neat stuff. Now, the other deck that I really enjoyed working alongside the Herb Crafters is this one. And I've talked about this a little bit. And I do have to do a video because this is like a chameleon of a deck where it works with so many tarot decks and the energy is so beautiful. This is a Sacred Nature Oracle. This was once an indie deck and then they brought it into mass market. It took me way too long to purchase this deck and I wanted it since it was on the whole Kickstarter thing. But these two I really love together. This one keyword that this deck has on it is really beautiful. It really ties together the message between these two decks. It just works so wonderfully. And again, we're dealing with all kinds of nature and plant medicine within this deck, which energetically just flows so beautifully. And I know that this is photography and this is actual paintings, but I just feel like the overall art and scheme within, or theme, not scheme, but theme, within these two decks just works so beautifully. Whoops, I'm picking this up. So that is the Sacred Nature Tarot, or Oracle rather. And again, I really enjoy this deck. It's a really nice deck. And this is one of those decks that I feel doesn't get enough attention on TarotTube, and it's a shame because it's an amazing oracle. Actually, I think oracle decks don't get enough attention in general. I love my tarot decks, but oracle decks, they have my heart in a very different way. All right. Another combination that I worked with together this month, this was for Earth Day. I pulled in the Tarot of Landscapes. I really like this deck. Really like this deck. So I have a few like Earth-centered tarot decks, and this was the one that I chose to work with for Earth Day. I love the art within this deck. And yes, it's a box within a box, but I've just chosen to keep it in there because when the box is inside the box, then this fits inside the other box. So it works well together. I love the art. I love the softness of it. I love the overall feeling of gentleness within the art. This is the Eternal Souls Oracle by Annalie Figueroa. I like this deck so much. There's something so comforting about this deck, but this is not a deck that I work with a whole lot with other tarot decks, and this one really worked well together. This one, it has such a beautiful rose petal finish, but this is one of those decks where if I just need a kind word, maybe at the end of the day, maybe just pull a card and see how they, you know, what comes up for me, just a single card kind of a deal. But these two, the play off of the overall color and the overall nature theme worked really beautifully together. The messages were really nice. This one does not come with a guidebook. You have it in Spanish, the title of the card, and then followed up in English right there. So if you're thinking that, oh, it's in Spanish, it's not going to work, it's right there. Release control. Look at how beautiful that is. And then you have this little dude holding on to his dandelion. Yes, like allow those wishes to flow. Put it out there. Just give it a shot. Like, what have you got to lose? Lose control and then find some balance. Work with that. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful reading. Like, oh, they're just so good together. I really like these two together. I know I'm getting all excited because I'm looking at these and I'm like, yes, it's beautiful. I love it. I just really like this combination. This was really good. And I do get excited when I can work with this deck because, like I said, there's not a whole lot of decks that I like it up against. And this one did it. And you know, guys, I'm going to say that this deck beat out working with the, what is it, Majestic Earth for Earth Day. That's one of my deals, is working with Majestic Earth for Earth Day because, of course, right? But this was a surprise. Really, really beautiful together. Okay, another pairing that I really liked together was a wee star in the forest of precious twigs. I cannot get over Trisha Murray's work. I love how beautiful these messages come across. It's not only the art, but it's the poem on the back. And I cannot get over how beautiful her decks are. So this here is another beautiful, beautiful deck to me. This is the Kai Tarot Love. And just the overall method in the art. This is all with charcoal, and I know that these are colors, you know, they're what is it, watercolors, I believe? I don't know her format. I don't know. I don't know what she used, but I love like the whole wispiness of it all. I love how airy this combination feels and how healing, how responsive this is. This is like this beautiful, tender, loving, caring, healing type of combination. I really love these two together. I don't know if I put these together in the whole pairings video that I did, but for the wee star. But oh my goodness, you guys, look at this. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. I love them together. All right. So let's get down to the final, or not the final pairing. It wasn't the only pairings that I had within the month, but these are the pairings that really, really stood out to me within the month. So I've got one more for you that I'd like to share because it just worked so beautifully together. All right. So here's the Pisces. Here we go again with the whole pronunciation of it. It just left. And then this is the Circle of Doors. The Circle of Doors is a 5 out of 5 deck for me. I really love this deck. This deck and the Remembering the Sweet Fool are decks that I got in about the same time last year, and they haven't left. I love them. They're so good together. All right, so these two. I know that the art styles don't match. You do have this cream and black here within this deck. And then this, although it's black and white, seems very vibrant and very, very colorful to me, even though it's not. But these two, the messages that you get from these, it's just wonderful. You have the 7 of Cups here with Expand, and then the 10 of Cups. And I love the way that he's pushing into the sacred geometry and moving through it. And then with the keywords here within the Circle of Doors, I think it's just beautiful the way that it reads. And then once you do look into the poem here, oh, they work so well. And of course, the Circle of Doors, I can't stop raving about the Circle of Doors, but the Circle of Doors has the most wonderful guidebook. Seriously, guys, if you at all like this type of thing, I don't know, I can't see how you would go wrong with the Circle of Doors. It's beautiful. Just a wonderful, wonderful deck. Look at that. Listen. Oh my gosh. Okay, anywho. I'm going a little crazy here, but I just love this combination. They work so well together. They really did give me such a beautiful and complete message between the two. So that's all I have for you this month in the April 2024 monthly wrap-up. But I appreciate you so very much. Thanks for listening to part of my emotions and things that we were going through. You know, it's a big step for me, for my daughter to go out of state at this point, because she's not going to be close. And as we get closer, I think I'm going to document some of that trip for you guys, and you see what direction of the country she's heading off to. I'm not going to say exactly where she's going, but it's going to be a very interesting thing for both of us, not just her, but me too as a parent. You know, I have to take my 17-year-old daughter over there and set her up and then say goodbye and come back home. And it's not close. It is so far. So anywho, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I wish you a beautiful day from my heart to yours. I will see you later.